I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like 2021 is the year of dramas, especially compared to 2020 and maybe even 2019, because there have been so many new dramas coming out this year and such great ones with great casts, great plots, great themes. I've just been in a mad rush trying to watch as many of them as I can. Hey everyone, my name is Meera. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a few Korean dramas that I enjoyed watching this year. This video is going to be a little bit like the memorable reads video I had done a few days ago, in the sense that these are dramas that are not in my top 10 of the year list, but there are several aspects to it which made it worth watching for me, and so I would definitely recommend it to you because of those reasons. If you enjoy watching Korean dramas, then please let me know what were your favorites and maybe try to guess which ones were mine. You will get to watch that video sometime in the first week of January. The first show I'm going to be talking about is Sisyphus the Myth. This is a science fiction drama which is set in a futuristic dystopian society as well as the present. There is some time travel involved. So there's this engineer called Han Tae-sul. He has invented a time travel machine. Now that somehow becomes the focal point of a disastrous incident that happens in the country. Basically, there's this evil organization called Sigma, and they want all the power for themselves, and they begin a nuclear war which leads to death and devastation. Now in the future timeline, that is the year 2035, Kang So-hye, who is played by Park Shin-hye, gets sent back to 2020 by her father. He's like, listen, stay away from Han Tae-sul, and she's like, huh, okay. But then of course she goes back and then she looks for Han Tae-sul as she quickly realizes that the goons, the people of Sigma, are trying to capture him, and so she's trying to protect him. That is the gist of what this drama is about. So this drama largely follows three distinct timelines. 2020 is when Sigma begins this nuclear war. Kang So is just a child. 2020 to 2035 is the period that we see the aftermath of what has happened in the country and how people are just trying to cope with the grief and the new world that they're living in. This is the time when So-hye grows up, and 2035 is when she realizes that she's gonna use the time travel machine and go back. There are scenes in each of these episodes where these timelines sort of overlap and cross over each other, and in the beginning it took me a little while to understand what was going on, but that doesn't take very long, and once I could grasp the premise, it became very engaging very quickly. Apart from that, some of the reasons I really enjoyed watching this show is the science fiction time travel aspect of it. Just getting to watch about these fantastical elements and futuristic things was a very fun experience for me. It's also really well shot, so the cinematography, you get to see what the world looks like in this futuristic setup. The set design is amazing. The visuals, the landscape, they're all so compelling, and the way this dystopian society has been shown, it definitely builds in you that sense of dread that, oh my god, what if the world really becomes like this one day? And plus the sense of adventure, that adrenaline rush, all of that's been done very well. Because of how convoluted the plot execution gets towards the end of the show, that's one reason that left me wondering. It could be a reason why some of you may not enjoy the show as much, but I would definitely say that it's worth the watch. So if you're looking for some fantasy science fiction dramas to watch, definitely check this out. Speaking of science fiction, I am currently watching The Silent Sea on Netflix and I am loving it. I don't know why. The drama just released yesterday and it already has some not so great reviews. But I really don't get it because I am having so much fun watching it and it's just so thrilling, so spooky at times. The next one is Beyond Evil. This is a quintessential crime drama in many ways. It doesn't only follow the story of one cop or detective but an entire team. During Lee Dong-sik's youth, his sister was murdered and he gets incarcerated for it because of some circumstantial evidence. Decades later, he is a cop and a series of similar such murders occur in their city. So he and his team put their heads together to figure out who the serial killer might be. When you read about this drama or even start watching it, you may feel like there's nothing special or there's nothing that stands out about it in terms of the murder mystery in itself. But what really is the selling point of this show is the brilliant job by the cast. They have done exceptional acting, especially Shinakyeon and Yojin-gu, who play the lead cop and detective. All of these actors don their character like second skin, and it's all just so persuasive that one moment you've just begun watching the drama, and before you know it, you've just binge watched the whole thing. One thing the writers have done really well, in addition to writing these characters, is creating this air of suspicion that clouds many characters. So you're never fully certain who the culprit might be, because a lot of them look equally culpable and mysterious in this sense that they have something to hide or something in their past that is weighing down on them. I really liked how the team's camaraderie comes across at times, and I am certainly going to be looking up more of these actors' works. The third drama is Doom at Your Service. The main reason that I even considered watching it is because of the lead actors. You tell me Park Bo Young and Seo In Guk, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna watch it, whatever that is. This drama follows the life of a web novel editor, Thung Gyong, whose life hasn't been rosy ever since her parents' demise, and she has stepped up as the elder sister, taking care of her brother. She's not really happy with, the direction her life is taking, but now her misery is worsened when she gets diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is brain cancer. So one night when she's just letting out her frustrations, she screams out loud, "Let doom befall the world," and that leads to her path crossing that of the angel of doom, who tells her that, look, I can make your pain go away, and for the next 100 days you're going to be able to lead a more comfortable life, but within those 100 days you're going to have to use up that wish about misfortune befalling the world. That's what the drama is about. While individual elements of the show, like the acting, the script, the pace, the soundtrack, all of that worked really well, but when put together it felt like the show was missing something. Like, it didn't have that wow factor, that spark to make it a 10 on 10 drama. Nevertheless, you get pulled into Thong Gyong's story and you begin to feel for her. Her banter with Myeolmang was so entertaining and so heartening to watch. Ultimately, it's a cliched romance drama, so there were quite a few angles that were predictable. But if you're like me and you enjoy these actors' works, you're gonna watch it anyway, right? The next drama is Sell Your Haunted House. This is about the team behind a real estate company who help individuals sell properties that are haunted by exorcising the spirits. Basically, if you have a house or a commercial property that you think is possessed by spirits, you can go to them and they will exorcise the spirit and then sell the house for you. While each episode follows the story of a different character and the reason behind why they're trying to sell a particular house or store, underlying all of this is the backstory and the journey of the main character Jia, who lost her mother at a young age. She has suppressed the memories related to that incident and how it really happened. She wants to help her mother's spirit, who's been residing in her house all this while, move on to the afterlife, and she's unable to do it. So she's trying to figure out a way to do that. What I really like about this drama is how both the lead characters' stories are interwoven. So with each successive episode, you get a little bit more glimpse of why their past is connected and how what they both are seeking in life, they can find with each other's help. And anyway, I'm always in a mood for a good supernatural K-drama or book or any other show. So it was tons of fun watching this one. Plus, Changnara's rendition of this character, good stuff. Another thing is that this one doesn't go over the top with like jump scares or gory faces, unlike some other K-dramas that I've watched. So even if you scare easy, Sell Your Haunted House should be a watchable drama for you. I have even read some reviews of this show that draw comparisons between themes that this show tackles, and the injustices faced by lesser fortunate people because of the corruption that is rampant in the housing system. So that's something I didn't know before watching this drama, but it's great that they are, placing emphasis on such stories and such hardships that people face in real life. There's quite a bit of action in this show as well that keeps up the pace. As with every drama, there are the good guys and the bad guys. And these bad guys, they prey on people who don't have as much power and wealth and influence. So watching them get beaten up and get confused with what's going on because there's supernatural elements involved, that was very cathartic to watch. The fifth drama is Squid Game. This is a glaring depiction of class hierarchies and what people are willing to do for money. So what happens in this show is that people with a lot of debts or no proper income source, they get invited to participate in this series of contests that have been inspired by children's games. The only thing is that these games take a dark turn when the losers in each round are killed off. It's a Netflix drama, so of course it's produced on a massive scale. The showmakers haven't shied away from making the violence as loud and centered as possible. Even though, even though it's a known fact that in the face of some calamity or when your safety is threatened, our self-preservation does kick in. But as I was watching these characters form bonds with each other, help each other out, and then a moment later not even think twice before betraying others, I couldn't help but feel some type of way. One of the things I love the most about this show is that it shows you how physical might is not the only thing that determines who is the strongest of all. Mental strength and intellect, they also play a big role in deciding, survival of the fittest. There's a sense of anticipation that builds with each episode because in the beginning you're likely to pick some character favorites, and with each episode you're just hoping and praying that nothing happens to them, even though everyone in the show and us watching know that ultimately it's one person who's going to come out victorious. The actors have done a commendable job. They were all actors that I hadn't been following earlier. Now I am definitely going to do so. There's a twist at the end that I hadn't seen coming. I don't know if you have. Let me know without any spoilers what you thought about this drama in the comments. The last drama I'm going to be talking about today is Hellbound. This is set in a dystopian society where a supernatural phenomenon has wreaked havoc on society. Random people get a visit from this unearthly being, fate, presumably, telling them that they are about to die and go to hell in XYZ time. For some characters it's 3 days, for some characters it's years, for others it's just a few hours. And when their time runs out, 3 monsters appear out of nowhere to kill them. Now some people in society, they find in this an opportunity to control the population, so naturally they're trying to take control of this entire phenomenon and make it appear to be a sign of God's will. We also follow the drama from the perspective of some characters who are at the helm of battling this extremist religious movement. This show not only explores the theme of religious conformity, but also about how mob psychology comes into play. The ending leaves a couple of questions unanswered and also gives rise to new questions that will constantly keep bugging you till you get to watch the next season. I read a few reviews and a lot of people didn't like this show as much because either they weren't impressed with the CGI or they felt like the lack of explanation about this supernatural phenomenon itself made it not as fulfilling. And there were also some people who felt that various elements in this show are unbelievable, which I agree with to a certain extent. I feel like the show would have been so much more outstanding if just a little bit information had been shared with us about why this supernatural phenomenon is happening all of a sudden and no one seems to be doing anything about it, as in to combat that. So just like Sell Your Haunted House, this show also has each episode following the story of a different character and how they've received the summons. But the common thread that runs through all of them is this lawyer who is one of the main characters. She finds herself calling the bluff on this priest who says that this phenomenon is God's will and that we should live a life of righteousness. So it also captures her journey and the hardships she faces, because there are not a lot of people who support her or who stand with her, and she is left with very limited resources to fight almost everybody. On the whole, I really enjoy watching this show, and I very much hope that there's a second season of it. So those were the 6 dramas that I wanted to mention in this video. Like I mentioned earlier, each of these dramas have good points and not so great points, but I found enough in them to stay engaged throughout. I'm going to be making another video which is my top K-drama recommendations for 2021, so stay tuned for that. That's about it for this video. I hope you had fun watching it. I hope you're going to try out at least some of these dramas. If you've already watched them, then let me know what you thought about these and which ones were your favorites. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon in another video. Bye!